All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to On Tap. I'm excited you guys joined us, and I'm joined by Mr. OG On Tap himself, Richie Del Prior.
OG. Definitely old. You got it, bro.
That's right. Is it Del Prior or is it Del Prior E or A? How are you supposed
Just
to?
the way you said it was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? But you're Italian though, right?
I am Italian.
Yeah. So how do the?
Del Priore. You know. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, dude, I'm excited you joined us. I know. For a lot of people out there, they know who you are because you get around, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who don't. So I figured we could warm up by playing a little 20 questions.
Yeah. First, let me just say thanks for inviting me, man. Anytime I get invited to, have some cold brews with one of my buddies and have a little God talk, I'm down, baby.
Yeah, so, dude. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. By the way, he does not know these questions, so.
Oh no.
Giddy up.
I'm starting to sweat.
All right. Good. Okay, so, and we're going to try to do this a little rapid fire. So here we go. So, favorite color?
Black.
Favorite song?
Freebird.
Favorite Chicago team?
Bears.
Dicka. Favorite beer?
Stone Brewing, IPA, Southern California.
You want to give him a shout out to the camera?
What's up, Stone? Yeah, took my wife out there. We loved your brewery. Had a blast. Enjoyed your beers.
Bears. Favorite local pizza?
Lou Malnati's.
For deep dish or thin crust or both?
Deep.
Yeah, deep. What about for thin, like pub style?
Thin, probably a Palermo's.
Yeah,
sweet sauce.
Yeah, sweet
dude.
sauce.
You know the game.
Oh yeah, I know the game. So most underrated musician or band?
Dream Theater. I think they're brilliant. I think they're brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little prog rock. There you go. Most worthless invention.
The Flowbee. Remember that thing on a vacuum cleaner that gives you a haircut? Huh? Or you're too young. You don't remember
Dude,
the Flowbee.
I remember watching commercials of it and my parents saying, "Look at what we used to have."
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't age him. I didn't do that. Passive or aggressive?
Aggressive.
Okay, this is gonna get a little weird now. If animals could talk, which would be the rudest?
The hyena.
That's good. You got a hyena sound?
A little bit of hyena.
Yeah.
I don't know. Laughing hyena.
Perfect. Is cereal soup?
No.
That's good. How many chickens would it take to kill an elephant?
300.
Okay, that's fair.
Trip them up a little bit.
Yeah. That's what that movie was supposed to be about originally. 300.
Yeah,
it was a chicken attacking an elephant movie.
Yeah, right.
You're like, this is not gonna work.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh my gosh. What sport would be the funniest to add a mandatory amount of alcohol to?
Hockey. Yeah, they wouldn't hit the puck, man. They'd just be flopping around the ice like a bunch of seals.
Oh my gosh. How about this one? What would be your weapon of choice in a zombie apocalypse?
My AK. Today was a good day, you know? Yeah, you like it?
All right, and along the same vein, where did the name Pina Colada come from?
I don't know, man. I'll go Key West, Florida.
What's the most annoying song to you?
My hero. I mean, it's awful, dude. You know what I'm talking about? Wind beneath my wings.
Oh,
dude, I want to pluck my eyeballs out if that comes on the radio.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. I don't want to hear Midler sing.
All right, this is the killer right here. Manscaping in modern society, yes.
Clean as a baby's bottom, baby. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Is there such a thing as I'm a medium scape.
Oh, that's a great way to cap it off. See, I hope everyone feels like they know you so much better now.
Yeah.
All the important things.
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, in all seriousness, you have like a wild story with a lot of twists and turns. Give us the flyover. How did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, grew up on the South Side. My mom became a Christian first in our family. And they used to have a thing called neighborhood Bible time, like vacation Bible school back in the day.
Sure.
It was a big Baptist church in our Oak Forest area, and the bus would just come through the neighborhood with the signs on it and like come join us. It was a different world back then. My mom said, dude, you're getting on that bus.
Wow.
So I jumped on, didn't know a soul, went there, ran for a week. It was fun, games, learning about Jesus and salvation and that whole deal.
Yeah.
I was 6, 7 years old. And I heard about accepting Jesus in my life for the first time and all that kind of stuff. And, what salvation meant and eternal life and heaven. And as a little boy, they said, if you want that, raise your hand. Yeah. And then come forward.
Classic.
And classic churchy kind of stuff.
Right.
And I raised my hand. I want that. It sounds great. I want to go to heaven, Yeah. And, pastor, like a youth pastor or something, took me in the back and kind of prayed the prayer, Jesus, come into my heart. And the whole week, they did that every day. And I raised my hand every day I went there. The guy was like, dude, you were already here. You're good to go. You prayed the prayer. And,
right.
And I just remember saying as a little guy, well, I just want to make sure like God knows I'm serious about this bad boy.
Dude, that's pretty cute.
So it was cute. When I think back, I went every day and I prayed that prayer all week. So I started going to church with my mom, and eventually my dad became a Christian and just kind of grew up in the church as a youngster.
Yeah.
My mom pulled me out of public school even
Really?
when I was in junior high and put me in the Christian school at that Baptist church.
How was that?
That was weird.
Yeah.
I had to shave my head, you couldn't have hair that touched the collar. And
wait, how long was your hair then?
It was probably like this, as a little guy.
That's like cutting Samson.
It was cutting Samson.
Yeah.
And, wear the tie, and they were real rigid. Following Jesus and going to their church was, you have to follow our rules, you have to look a certain way, or you don't belong. It wasn't, you belong right where you're at right now, the way Jesus deals with people. Mm-hmm. And then you learn how to grow in your faith. Yeah. It was, you need to look this way, you need to be this way now, or you're not part of our club, kind of a deal. Yeah. So that's where I kind of struggled growing up through that. Got thrown out of high school there.
Really?
And I wasn't a rebel. I would just question those things. Huh. As I started kind of reading the Bible as a young high school kid, I was always drawn to Jesus. I believe, even though the praying a certain prayer and raising your hand and going forward might not be the exact thing, it did something for me as a little boy. And like God really drew me. And I always had this heart for God and for Jesus, and I wanted to learn more about that. So in high school, I would read things, and I just thought, man, the more I read Jesus, the more I look into this thing, this whole church thing and rules and everything, like I don't see that in Jesus' life. He was just follow me and watch what I'll do in your life kind of a deal. Yeah. So you couldn't listen to rock music, you couldn't dance, you couldn't go to the movies. I mean, it was strict. So I got in trouble for, I'd be, talking about, my buddies, hey, I just picked up the new 8-track. That's how old I am, or the new cassette, of this rock band or that rock band, or, some, Led Zeppelin or something like that. And they got wind of it, and they had me bring all my stuff, all my music, and just like that scene in Footloose with the books.
Yeah.
My teacher and a bunch of our classmates went out and they put it all into a garbage can and set it on fire. They said, that's all devil stuff, devil music.
They
and everything.
Set your stuff on fire?
They burned all my tapes, all my music, everything. Yeah. So eventually, as I went through high school there, freshman, sophomore year, the end of my sophomore year, they called my parents and said, Richie can't come back. He's influencing kids. It's just not a good fit. He's wearing, skinny leather ties and dressing like the world. And I mean, that's why I got kicked out. I mean, stuff like that, dude. It's just weird. Yeah. So I ended up going to a different Christian school in Wisconsin. It was kind of a prep high school. So I lived in the dorm, and there was a Bible college there too, and loved it. I was 16, living in the dorm with college people, I was everyone's little brother.
Yeah.
And I just enjoyed it. It was a little more lax. And then I followed, after I graduated high school there, I went to the Bible college there. It was great. Had fun. It was strict. Still had issues with, there was a lot of the rule stuff and, like I said, look a certain way, be a certain way kind of stuff. And I just never bought into that. I always struggled.
Yeah.
Like I liked dudes that were on the fringe and dudes that didn't know Jesus and didn't start following Jesus. And I didn't want to make them feel judged because I'm reading about Jesus and how he moved from town to town and just loved on people that didn't have it all figured out,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to pattern my life after that. So played football there, had a blast. Went there on and off for 4 years, and they threw me out. Same deal. Influencing the other students in a bad way.
To
To
wear leather ties.
Yeah, you're not supposed to go to the movies, and I would sneak out and go see Top Gun, and they caught wind of it, and I had to get pulled into the office, like just stuff like that, just really bad. So I was always a good kid.
Right.
It's just that I just never fit into that real legalistic rule kind of a church and school.
Right.
But I was brought up in that, so that's just kind of my story.
Yeah, dude.
So get out of college, get thrown out of there, and came home, and my mom actually introduced me to my wife, my wife that I'm married to now, which is in April. This April will be 30 years ago. That's how old I am. Had our first date 30 years ago, April 6th. And she was a senior in the Christian high school that I got thrown out of, the Baptist church.
Really?
And she would come over, and back then, ladies would get kind of perms and get their hair done. Mm-hmm. And Debbie was, my mom worked there. She was like kind of the lunch lady and the, kind of cleaning up and stuff, and befriended Debbie. And they were close. So my wife was actually friends with my mom before I ever knew her.
That's wild.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And
met her. First date, like I said, April 6th, 30 years ago, and we've been together ever since. So instead of finishing Bible college, I just went into the workforce, started project managing, construction company, working downtown Chicago, high-rise schools, windows, glass, all that kind of stuff. And always jumped into a church and got involved. Just always felt God's pull on my life. So me and my wife, even when we were dating, we did youth group leaders at churches that we went to. Ended up at Parkview, which is this church here. Mm-hmm. Eventually, and we were married at the time and just plugged in. Debbie sang on the band, here, and I jumped in with the high school department. Just always served. Always felt the need to serve and be Jesus to young people. And I didn't want anyone to go through what I went through, because that was my story. And I wanted them to know the Jesus that's in the Bible, not the religion, not the rule book, not the follow all this stuff, and then you're in the club.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I had a passion for that. I have some friends that kind of grew up in the system I did. I'm not knocking the Baptist church. I found Jesus in the Baptist church. And there's great Baptist churches out there. Right. Just the one that I went to was a little funky, right? Yeah. So a lot of the Baptist folks are my brothers and sisters, and I love them. But they threw the baby out with the bathwater. They got so hurt by religion that they just walked away from God and walked away from that whole life. And it's messy, and I see a lot of debacles in their life, and it's sad, For me, I started to get that way, but for some reason, maybe it's because I, started following Jesus at an early age. I don't know what it is. God just had his hand on my life and my heart. And I always went back to reading the book of John in the Bible. There's a book, if you're not familiar with the Bible, a book of John is in the Bible, and all the dudes that are kind of ready to take their first step towards Jesus, that's the one book I challenge them to read. It's not super long, it's an easy read, but it's kind of the life of Jesus. It's the gospel, they call it. And I always went back to looking what Jesus did and how he lived his life. And Jesus inspired me. I mean, when you look at the person of Jesus, God with human skin and flesh and bone. He came down here and lived a perfect life and moved around and dealt with different people that were, prostitutes and all kinds of different people that didn't have it figured out and were going down the wrong path in life. And the way he treated them and the way he loved them and the way he got pissed at the religious that were judging these people, that was tracking with me, dude.
Yeah.
And the things that I went through growing up in that real rigid religion, it was refreshing to me. And I wanted that. And I wanted to be like that. And God's always just drawn me to, dudes and ladies on the fringe that I know that he wants to capture their heart and change their lives. And he put that mission in my heart a long time ago, and I think that's what helped me. Staying on mission with that kind of stuff and always looking to the life of Jesus instead of the life of religion. It's a completely different thing, and that's really helped me and kept me on board, I believe.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean?
I totally.
If that makes sense to you.
It does, because I think wherever people are, there's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
So every institution is run by people.
Yeah.
And even the ones that have the best ideas or start really well don't always carry through and finish well. But I think it's pretty inspiring that you found a way to separate those two and not write it all off and still find Jesus in the middle of it. And I don't know, man. That's challenging. It's good to think about.
Yeah. It's when I see some of my buddies that totally threw it all away and walked away, and I think, man, I'm very fortunate. Don't know what it is. Like, I can't put my finger on, like, this is the magic button to do this. But for me, going to John when I was confused, always looking at the life of Jesus, the dude is awesome. I mean, he will transform your life. That's why I say give Jesus a try. If all else fails, give him a try.
Love it.
Bro.
Thanks for coming by, dude.
Dude, I absolutely loved it, man. Invite me anytime.
Yeah, for sure.
I enjoy it. Thanks, man.
You bet.